Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, coin lovers and curious treasure seekers. Today, we're diving deep into the world of American numismatics, and trust me, this is going to be a journey you don't want to miss. We're exploring one of the most iconic and collectible coins in United States history, the Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1942 with mint marks that could completely change how much it's worth. There are millions of people out there who have old coins stashed away in jars, drawers, and family boxes, not realizing that one of those tiny pieces of copper could hold a life-changing value. If you've ever handled an old penny and wondered if it's special, this video might be the one that gets you digging through your change right after watching. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 and continued until 1958, replacing the Indian head cent and introducing the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, Abraham Lincoln himself. The decision to honor Lincoln was made to celebrate the centennial of his birth, and little did anyone know that this coin would go on to become one of the most collected and studied in American history. By 1942, the world was in the middle of World War II, and the United States was preparing for major changes in production and resources. Copper was essential for military manufacturing, and although 1943 is better known for the steel pennies, 1942 was a transitional time that produced some of the most interesting varieties. What makes the 1942 wheat penny so intriguing is that it was struck at multiple mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a small d, and San Francisco with an S. These mint marks might seem like tiny details, but for collectors, they can mean big differences in price. The Philadelphia coins were produced in the largest quantity, so they're the most common. The Denver and San Francisco versions had lower mintages, and when you're talking about condition and rarity, that instantly makes them more attractive to collectors. But it gets even better when you start considering errors and condition. Now think about this: most pennies made back then were used in everyday transactions. People carried them in pockets, they fell on sidewalks, got scratched, dented, and worn down over decades of circulation. So when a collector finds one that's been preserved, looks sharp, and still has its mint luster, that coin suddenly jumps into a whole different value category. The wheat ears on the back, the clear lettering, the sharp features of Lincoln on the front, these details matter more than most people realize. And that's before we even talk about error coins. Error coins from 1942 wheat pennies can include things like double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and clipped planchets. These are mistakes made during the minting process that slipped into circulation, and collectors just can't resist them. Even a small visible flaw can increase the price dramatically because each error coin is unique. If you're holding a 1942 penny and notice anything strange about the lettering, numbers, or mint mark, that could be a big clue that you've got something special. But rarity and condition aren't the only things increasing demand. The historical connection to wartime America adds another layer of intrigue. People love owning pieces of history that tell a story, and the fact that the U.S. Mint was about to switch from copper to steel the following year makes the 1942 penny even more interesting. It's like holding a final chapter before a major change in coin production. Many collectors specifically look for wheat pennies from the early 40s to complete sets and invest in long-term pieces that are known to rise in value. And let's not forget about the importance of grading. A coin in worn condition might only bring a small amount, but the same coin in uncirculated or near mint condition with a visible mint mark can skyrocket in value. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC often fetch the highest prices, especially when the details are crisp, the color is good, and there are no signs of damage or cleaning. People sometimes think cleaning a coin makes it better, but in the collector world, that can actually destroy its value. Original, untouched, and well-preserved is always the goal. So if you've got an old penny from a coin jar or inherited collection, grab a magnifying glass and check the date and look closely for that mint mark, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark for Philadelphia. Check the color, the shine, the details in Lincoln's coat, his hair, the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," and the date itself. Flip the coin and look at the wheat stalks on the reverse. Then take a good look for signs of doubling, misalignment, or any unusual marks. Today we're taking a deep look into one of the most classic and collectible coins ever produced in the United States, a coin that millions of people have seen but only a few understand the true value of. We're talking about the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with mint marks that could turn a tiny copper coin into a major payday. If you've ever wondered whether an old penny could actually change your luck, this is one of those moments where history, rarity, and condition all come together to create something extraordinary. The Lincoln Wheat Penny has been a favorite among collectors for decades, and the 1941 issue is especially fascinating because of the time period it represents. Right before the United States entered World War II, the country was going through economic recovery, industrial growth, and rapid changes. During this time, the mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco produced these coins in massive numbers, but what most people don't realize is that most of them were used, abused, and worn down through years and years of circulation. That means finding one today that has kept its original shine, clarity, and sharp details is incredibly difficult. The design itself is iconic, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front, the first real person ever shown on a U.S. coin, surrounded by the date and the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." On the reverse side, the wheat ears that give the penny its nickname are displayed along with United States of America and 1 cent. The simplicity of the design hides the fact that certain mints and varieties are far more valuable than others. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint used a small d, and the San Francisco Mint used an s. These tiny letters, barely noticeable at first glance, can make a surprising difference in the coin's market value. Collectors hunt for 1941 pennies that not only have visible mint marks but also show original luster, strong strike quality, and minimal wear. Imagine a coin that has survived more than 8 decades and still looks almost the same as it did the day it was minted. That kind of preservation is rare, and it's exactly what drives collectors into fierce competition at auctions. Coins stored carefully in albums or discovered untouched in old collections can reach levels of value that most people would never expect from something as small as a penny, but what really brings excitement and serious money into the conversation are the special varieties and minting errors. In 1941, some pennies were struck with doubled dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, and off-center strikes. These errors were never meant to happen, but when they do and they escape into circulation, they become accidental treasures. Collectors love these pieces not just for their age, but for their uniqueness. An error coin instantly becomes more scarce and desirable because no two are exactly alike. Another huge factor is condition. A circulated 1941 penny with scratches, wear, and dull surfaces might only bring a few cents to a few dollars. But an uncirculated version, especially one with a strong mint mark and sharp details, can be worth exponentially more. Coins graded by professional services and placed into slabs for protection often bring record-setting prices because the condition is verified and preserved. Many people don't realize that even the slightest change in grade can raise or lower the value dramatically. It's also important to pay attention to the color and surface of the coin. Copper coins like these can tone over time, but collectors look for original red or red-brown coloring, clean fields without damage, and clear lettering. Lincoln's hair, facial features, and coat lines should be crisp. On the back, the wheat lines should still be defined, and the words should look sharp under magnification. When you find a coin like that from 1941, you're no longer dealing with pocket change, you're holding something far more significant. So the next time you come across a jar of old pennies, or maybe you inherited a box of coins from a family member, don't overlook the ones from the early 1940s. Look closely at the date. Look for the mint mark under the date. Check the edges, the shine, the clarity, and any unusual features. Even a tiny doubling in a letter or number can make a difference. The thrill of finding one of these rare pieces comes from knowing that something this ordinary looking could be worth more than a stack of modern bills. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating chapters of American numismatics, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin, just another penny you've passed over 100 times in your life, but if you take a closer look, you'll see why collectors around the world go crazy for these coins. The story of this coin isn't just about currency, it's about history, rarity, and the thrill of finding something truly valuable hidden in plain sight. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909, has always held a special place in the hearts of collectors. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, Abraham Lincoln, commemorating his centennial birth. By 1944, the world was in the midst of World War II, and the United States was fully engaged in wartime production. Despite the massive focus on the war effort, the U.S. Mint continued to produce pennies that would eventually become historical treasures. What makes the 1944 penny particularly interesting is that it was minted during a period when copper was still widely used in coins, unlike the following year, 1945, when wartime metals and shortages started affecting coin production. The design of the coin is iconic. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile gazes forward, surrounded by the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," with the year, 1944, stamped clearly beneath. Flip it over, and you'll find the two wheat ears that give the coin its nickname, along with the inscription United States of America and 1 cent. To the untrained eye, it's just a familiar coin, but every detail, every line, tells a story. For collectors, the date and mint mark are crucial. In 1944, coins were minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark, in Denver with a small d, and in San Francisco with an s. These small letters can drastically affect value, and collectors pay very close attention to them, especially when paired with uncirculated condition or unique errors. Most of these pennies were used in everyday life. They passed from pocket to pocket, jingled in cash registers, and circulated relentlessly. Because of that, finding a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny that has survived 8 decades without heavy wear, scratches, or discoloration is extremely rare. Coins in pristine condition are highly sought after, and the ones that remain untouched by circulation can fetch extraordinary prices. The quality of the strike, the sharpness of Lincoln's features, and the clarity of the wheat stalks on the reverse all contribute to a coin's value, and then there are the errors, which make certain 1944 pennies even more desirable. Coins can have doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or subtle variations in metal composition, each one creating a one-of-a-kind piece of history. Error coins are the holy grail for many collectors because they are unpredictable and unique. Even a tiny anomaly, like a slightly off-center design or a doubled date, can make a massive difference in how much a collector is willing to pay. The market for these coins is driven not only by rarity and condition but also by historical significance. Owning a coin minted in 1944 is like holding a small piece of wartime America. It's a tangible connection to a time when every penny counted, when coins were essential for everyday life, and when the United States was undergoing monumental change. This historical context adds a layer of excitement for collectors and investors alike, because it's not just about money, it's about owning a piece of history that has survived over 75 years. Grading plays an essential role in determining value. A circulated coin with obvious wear may bring only a few dollars, but an uncirculated coin with original red-brown or red coloring, crisp details, and no signs of cleaning can reach astonishing prices. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC verify and protect coins, giving collectors confidence that they are investing in something authentic and preserved. Coins that receive high grades are often sold at auctions, sometimes sparking bidding wars that send prices soaring. So, if you ever stumble across an old penny jar, a forgotten coin collection, or even a single coin that looks a bit older than usual, pay attention to the details. Check the date, look for a mint mark, examine the edges, Lincoln's features, and the wheat stalks. Look for any unusual characteristics, doubled letters, or anomalies. Even a coin that seems ordinary could be something extraordinary. The thrill of discovering a coin in excellent condition, potentially with an error, is what drives collectors to spend hours, days, and even years searching through piles of pennies. Today, we're uncovering the story of a small yet incredibly significant piece of American history, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. On the surface, it might look like any ordinary 1-cent coin, something you might find at the bottom of a jar or tucked between other coins in a drawer, but for collectors and numismatists, this coin is a gem that carries both historical weight and impressive monetary value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about hidden treasures in your change, you'll want to pay close attention to every detail as we explore what makes the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909, the first United States coin to feature a real person, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1950, this series had become an iconic part of American coinage, circulating widely across the country and touching the hands of millions of Americans every day. Despite its widespread use, finding coins from this era in pristine condition has become increasingly rare over the decades, making them highly sought after by collectors. The 1950 penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, which had no mint mark; Denver, which used a small D beneath the date; and San Francisco, marked with an S. These mint marks may seem insignificant to the casual observer, but for collectors, they are crucial. Coins from Denver and San Francisco had lower production numbers, which increases their rarity, and even minor differences in production or design can impact value significantly. The mint mark, combined with the coin's condition, can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a collector's dream. The design of the coin is timeless. On the obverse, we see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of integrity, freedom, and American history, surrounded by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," with the year 1950 boldly stamped beneath. On the reverse, the classic wheat ears stand tall, flanking the words "United States of America" and 1 cent. Each line, each detail in Lincoln's hair and coat, and every groove of the wheat stalks matters when evaluating the coin's quality and value. The sharper these features are, the more appealing the coin becomes to serious collectors. While millions of 1950 pennies were circulated, most of them endured decades of wear and tear. These coins jostled through pockets, drawers, cash registers, and countless transactions, leaving the majority of them scratched, dented, or dulled. Because of this, coins that have survived in uncirculated or near-mint condition are extremely rare. Collectors often pay a premium for coins that have retained their original luster, with strong details and vibrant color, whether it's the original red tone or the later red-brown patina that develops over time. Errors and unique variations add another layer of intrigue to the 1950 Lincoln penny. While most coins were struck perfectly, some slipped through the minting process with anomalies such as double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or subtle metal inconsistencies. These errors make each coin one of a kind and significantly more valuable. Even a slight doubling of the date or letters can transform a coin from a common collectible into a highly coveted treasure. Error coins are essentially tiny pieces of history that tell a story about the production process and the human element involved in minting. Historical context also enhances the coin's appeal. In 1950, the United States was experiencing post-war growth and prosperity. The nation was transitioning into a new era of technological advancement, cultural development, and economic strength. Owning a coin from this period is like holding a tangible piece of that history, a small, enduring reminder of an America that was moving confidently into the future while still honoring its past. This combination of history, design, and rarity is what makes collectors and investors alike eager to add 1950 pennies to their collections. Grading is a critical factor in determining the value of these coins. A penny that has been circulated heavily, showing wear on Lincoln's cheek, hair, or coat, might only bring a modest price. However, an uncirculated coin with sharp details, no cleaning, and original luster can command a dramatically higher price. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins and certify their condition, giving collectors confidence in their investment. Coins with high grades often appear at auctions and can spark competitive bidding, sometimes reaching astonishing prices. If you ever come across a jar of old pennies, a family collection, or even a single coin tucked away in a forgotten drawer, take the time to examine it closely. Look at the date, identify any mint mark, and inspect the coin for sharp features, original color, and any unusual characteristics. Even a coin that appears ordinary at first glance could be a rare find worth a small fortune. The excitement of discovering a well-preserved 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, or spotting a subtle error that makes it unique, is what drives collectors to spend hours, weeks, or even years searching for these remarkable coins. Today, We're diving deep into the world of classic American coins to uncover a piece of history that could be hiding in your pocket change or family collections, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This unassuming 1-cent coin is far more than a small piece of copper. It's a window into American history, a collectible with a devoted following, and in certain cases, a potential ticket to an extraordinary payday. Whether you're a longtime collector or someone who's simply curious about the stories behind coins, this video will take you on a journey through the fascinating world of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series has been treasured by collectors ever since it was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1956, the series had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, and each coin carried with it a connection to decades of American life, from the Great Depression to the post-war boom. The 1956 pennies were minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark, in Denver with a small d, and in San Francisco with an s. These mint marks may appear small and insignificant at first glance, but for collectors, they hold the key to understanding rarity and value. Coins from Denver and San Francisco tend to be more sought after due to lower mintages, and when paired with pristine condition or rare errors, they can become extraordinary finds. The design of the coin is iconic and has remained beloved for generations. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces to the right, a dignified reminder of the nation's legacy, accompanied by the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1956. The reverse showcases the wheat ears that earned the series its nickname, with the inscriptions United States of America and 1 cent. Every tiny detail of the coin, from Lincoln's facial features to the delicate lines of the wheat stalks, carries weight in the eyes of collectors. The sharper and more precise these details, the more valuable the coin becomes. What makes the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny particularly exciting is the rarity of coins in exceptional condition. Millions of these pennies were circulated, jostled around in pockets, jars, and cash registers, and yet, very few survived untouched. Over the decades, most became worn, scratched, or dulled by constant handling. But a coin that has retained its original luster, strong strike, and flawless surfaces is considered a gem in the numismatic world. Coins like these are highly sought after, especially by collectors who specialize in completing full sets or hunting for high-grade specimens. The thrill of discovering one in nearly perfect condition is unmatched. Collectors also pay close attention to error coins from this era. While most 1956 pennies were struck perfectly, a few slipped through with variations such as double dies, repunched mint marks, or slight metal inconsistencies. These errors, though unintentional, make each coin unique and highly desirable. Even a subtle doubling of a date or letter can dramatically increase the coin's market value, transforming an ordinary piece of currency into a collector's treasure. Error coins are essentially one-of-a-kind pieces of history, and their rarity makes them incredibly valuable to the right buyer. Historical context also plays a role in a coin's desirability. The mid-1950s were a time of post-war prosperity and rapid change in America. These coins circulated during an era of economic growth, cultural shifts, and technological progress. Owning a 1956 penny is like holding a tangible connection to that period, a small piece of the past that has endured for nearly 70 years. It's this combination of historical significance, condition, and rarity that drives collectors to invest in these coins, often paying surprisingly high amounts for the right examples. Grading is critical when evaluating a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Circulated coins, even in good condition, may only hold modest value, but uncirculated coins with strong strike details, vibrant red or red-brown coloring, and no signs of cleaning can command extraordinary prices. Professional grading services, such as PCGS or NGC, certify coins for authenticity and condition, giving buyers confidence in what they are purchasing. Coins that earn high grades often appear at auctions, where bidding wars can push their prices into the tens of thousands of dollars. So, if you ever happen to come across an old coin collection, a jar of mixed pennies, or even a single coin tucked away in a drawer, take the time to examine it closely. Check the date, look for a mint mark, and inspect the coin for sharp details, color, and any unusual features. Even something that seems ordinary at first glance can turn out to be extraordinarily valuable. The excitement of finding a coin in near-perfect condition, or spotting a rare error, is part of what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's the possibility that among the everyday change, you might be holding a piece of history worth far more than you ever imagined, and now, the moment every collector dreams about. If you're lucky enough to own a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark in excellent, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare error, it could be worth an astonishing $89,000.